The Black Studies program at Cleveland State University welcomes you to this season of Images, a public affairs radio forum dedicated to open dialogue on a variety of diverse topics of interest and issues of concern, which focus on the life and experiences of African Americans and all peoples of African descent. By visiting our website at www.csuohio.edu/blackstudies or calling 216-687-3655, you can learn more about upcoming Black Studies program events and activities. Now, here is your host for Images.
And welcome to Images. I'm Prester Pickett, your host for this broadcast of Images. We have with us today some very special guests who will allow us to understand more about the Anna V. Brown Conference and Forum. The opportunity to have with us sharing information is Dr. Victoria R. Wimbush here with Cleveland State University as part of our faculty. We also have Samantha B. Brooks joining us, and as well we have Denise Burton. Ladies, welcome to Images.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our opportunity to have a discussion about the Anna V. Brown Community Forum and Conference starts with its start, and would like to ask, when did the Anna V. Brown Conference Forum start, and get our audience acquainted with the history of this very important engagement in our community and with significant community members.
Okay, I'd like to respond to that.
Thank you, Dr. Wimbush.
So the conference actually started back in 1987, and it was a collaboration between the Cleveland State University School of Social Work and also recognizing the contribution of Anna V. Brown, who we'll talk about in a minute, who's very significant to the field of aging and making sure that seniors got the appropriate services and support that they needed in the greater Cleveland area. So following that, the conference was held pretty much annually up until about 2014. And then there was kind of a break. A lot of things happened, a lot of changes. And it was this year that the decision was made to see if we might restart the conference. So we're starting a little bit smaller. It had typically been a full-day conference. This year it'll be a half-day. But we're so excited, both about holding it and having this gathering, revitalization, and also the many partners that we've had the opportunity to work with. And I believe that when people come together, great things happen. There's a synergy, energy that gets created, and it just kind of flows into a sense of community and support. And
now,
that's what we want.
I've introduced you as being part of the faculty here at the university through our School of Social Work. Dr. Wimbush, can you share more information about your background and how you became involved with the Anna V. Brown Conference Forum? Again, as a member of the faculty here at Cleveland State University, you also teach in the Master's Social Work program.
That's correct.
There is an appointment that you have in terms of being the coordinator for the planning of this conference, and you are working as a member of the Dean's Diversity Council that's doing so many great things here. So with that background, any other information you would like to share to allow us to understand how you became involved with the Anna V. Brown Conference and Forum?
Sure. Actually, it was the director of the social work school, Dr. Kathleen Lewandowski, who asked me if I'd like to revitalize the conference. As I said, there had been a break, and there was a need for someone to coordinate. So I was asked if I would take on that responsibility. And I was honored to do so because of who Anna Brown is and what she represented. And I think that, or I remember back when I did my social work master's, I think gerontology was one of the areas that I was very excited about. Early in my career, I served as I guess I was kind of a coordinator or social worker for a senior daycare program. So I have some really fond memories of being involved in working with the elderly. But certainly in social work, we look at individuals from the cradle, so to speak, till late in life. And so this is part of human development and understanding how we all grow, change, and truthfully age over time, and wanting to do that not only gracefully but with the support of our families and communities. So I have appreciated the opportunity to really bring forward things that I truly believe in as a social worker, and also to explore this aspect of our city in terms of how it's caring for the needs and supports needed for our elderly, particularly our Black elders.
And when you talk about supporters, there are many that are assembled under your leadership to help make this conference possible. Two other members of the community join us in the studio today. And so I would like for Samantha B. Brooks to introduce herself to our listening audience and share information even with our undergraduate students so they can recognize you as a role model and consider the degrees that you've acquired to do the work that you've done and continue to do, and the celebration of your retirement even to show how busy you are with your history and background. Please.
Yes, thank you. As mentioned, my name is Samantha, and I'm actually a transplant to the state of Ohio, having been born and raised in the city of Chicago and attending Elmhurst University, which is right outside, Elmhurst College, which is right outside of the city of Chicago. I went on to graduate school at Washington University in St. Louis, the George Warren Brown School of Social Work, where I attained a master's degree in social work. Soon after that, moved to the state of Ohio. And so actually Ohio now is my home, and I've been here longer than I've been in Chicago, where I was born and raised. But my interest in aging came with a certification that I received at University of Akron in lifespan development and gerontology under the direction of Harvey Stearns. And you know, he is such an amazing professor at the university and was part of the certification of the social work master degree program between Akron University and Cleveland State years ago. But he made us aware that older adults were going to have a special place in our country in terms of their growing population and our ability to meet the needs of older adults as we multiply, and I include we because I now am in that category. And so I began my career with a level of excitement. And I said to many older adults that I worked with 30 years ago, you know, that one day I am going to be turning 65 and I need for you all to fix this before I get 65. Well, now I've attained and passed that age, and I understand that there is still a lot more work that needs to be done. And so the Anna V. Brown Community Forum and Conference helps to move that forward on a continuum so that we never forget what the needs of the Black elder population are and what we must do as a country in order to begin to meet those needs and to make sure that older adults are able to thrive and grow in a way that improves their well-being. Since retirement, and I worked years for the Benjamin Rose Institute on Aging, I have continued my involvement in the community because of my commitment to our population group. And so I work with DSAS. I work with
and DSAS is
the Department of Senior and Adult Services with the county.
Thank you.
I work with Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. I work with a very special group that is near and dear to my heart called Senior Voice. We are a grassroots group that looks to educate older adults on Social Security and Medicare and making sure that they are going to be here and fiscally sound for all of us as well as our generations to come. My more recent connection has been with our state AARP. and I am an executive council member as well as a volunteer with AARP, and that takes me out into the community. Doing what I love to do, talking with older adults, talking with our legislators about policies that are being introduced and legislation being introduced, making sure that it is going to meet the needs of our older adults.
And that's a very important part of the conference in helping the community understand what goes into this policy making as well. So welcome to Cleveland State University, as the Anna V. Brown Conference and Forum connects all of that background,
Yes.
that rich background of yours into Cleveland State University. So again, you're part of our community and welcome. We also have a chance to welcome Denise Rucker Burton to our Images broadcast. This is also an opportunity to welcome you back to the outstanding work that you've already done here at Cleveland State University, for us to also be attentive of your background as an entrepreneur, and even with that, how you extend other conversations in your current role. So please introduce to our audience without being modest at all, because our audience includes our students.
Okay.
Who need to realize what you did to move forward in your professional career, and how you're contributing to Cleveland State as well as the Anna V. Brown Conference.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. So I am, again, just very excited to come back to the Anna V. Brown Conference and Community Forum. I am a graduate, I have to say, of Cleveland State University. I received my master's in public administration right here from the Maxine College of Urban Affairs. Years ago, about 20-something years ago. And it was during that time, when I was doing my graduate work, that I was introduced to the Anna V. Brown experience, if you will. It was during that time that I was working as an intern for the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, and there was a project called the Minority Targeting Project that was funded at the time by the Cleveland Foundation and also the United Black Fund. And it was through that work, both with the director at the time, who was Ron Hill, and Carlotta Williams, who was the project director, that we were able to not just do research around Black elders, but also Latino elders and Asian elders, specifically Chinese elders, in the greater Cleveland community. And likely, more likely than not, I had a special place in my heart for African American elders and their experience, because my grandmother actually, who is deceased now, was a home health aide who worked at where I work now, the County Division of Senior and Adult Services. And so she really, I remember her sitting at home, and she was a single mom most of her adult life. And I remember her sitting at the table when she would watch my sister and brother and I, and she would be writing out her schedule to go out into the community for the next day. And it just really gave me an appreciation for how hard she had to work, as an African American woman, single mother, who was a part of what we call our village. And so through the work that I did with the Minority Targeting Project, came to meet my mentors, actually two of whom are sitting here, but also Dr. Ed McKinney, Dr. Maggie Jackson, and Dr. Mike Williams. And they really brought me in and helped me to learn and to grow, and gave me opportunities. So I think one of the things that I really want to stress, especially for students, is that when you have an opportunity to sit with the mentors and sit with the elders, and they give you an opportunity to learn and to grow and to help, take that chance. I pretty much say I grew up in this field, and if it wasn't for the folks, two of the folks especially sitting at this table and others, I would not have been able to then go on to do the work that I've done. Just quickly, I left the Area Agency on Aging and my master's program and became a nursing home administrator. My specialization at the time was healthcare administration. So I was the administrator of Eliza Bryant Village for a time, the administrator at City View Nursing Home for a time, and then left that work and started my own business called Integrity Health Solutions, and worked in that regard to do professional development and training specifically for those who work with seniors and those healthcare organizations who were implementing electronic health records. So it was a nice run, if you will, but like any business person, you can't do it all yourself. But I will say that, again, it was because of the mentors that I have in my life and the support of my family and village that allowed me to do that. And so I landed back at the Division of Senior and Adult Services. This is actually my third time there, about 6 years ago, managing the Office on Aging. And so it's really a culmination of all the work that I've done at this point, getting to work with not just the academic side, but also public policy, and really linking public policy and academia to the practical work in program development is really what I love to do.
The conversation has been about our seniors and our elders. I would say the leaders, particularly in recognizing the names you called with Dr. Ed McKinney and Dr. Maggie Jackson. We would also acknowledge the ancestors, Dr. Michael R. Williams as an ancestor, and Anna V. Brown as an ancestor. An ancestor deserving to have a legacy passed on to a next generation. Dr. Wimbush, can you enlighten our listening audience about the history of this legendary figure that brings a community together still at Cleveland State University and in the community where the conference will be held?
Yes, I would be glad to. So Anna V. Brown was an African-American woman. She was born in 1914. And what's really significant was when Carl Stokes was elected mayor, he appointed her as the executive director of the Mayor's Commission on Aging, and that was in 1971. And she worked in the mayor's office, and she coordinated services for older adults. And my understanding is, up until this was a new appointment, a new position, and up until then, this was not something that was necessarily on the radar for the city to be concerned about the needs of older adults. So she worked in the mayor's office as the coordinator, and that became the executive director, and it became the City Department of Aging in 1981. And as the City Department, she was instrumental in assembling a list of programs and services that still functions today through that office in the city of Cleveland. So she was an advocate, a spokeswoman for the elderly at all levels, local level, state level, national level. She became the president of the National Council on Aging in 1984, and that was so significant for an African-American woman to achieve that level of stature in an organization at that time. She was also the president of the Urban Elderly Coalition of the Ohio chapter of the Caucus on the Black-Aged, and she served on the boards of Eliza Bryant Home and of the Cleveland Clinic Foundation. So she was really quite an important figure in the life of the city during her time. And she also, I guess, would be considered an applied gerontologist. So she was the one who went out and talked to people and built those bridges between the elderly and the people in the university and the people in the organization, so that the needs could be understood and hopefully there would be some response to their needs. She got her BA from Oberlin College in 1938, and she also had a master's degree from NYU. And something that we stumbled on as we were doing our research for another part of the conference was that she actually wrote a letter to W.E.B. Du Bois. And interesting enough, he wrote her back. So that can be found in the archives.
And that brings our attention to the interdisciplinary component of Black Studies with the history, that you're making history with this conference, and calling her a bridge builder and realizing that one of the bridges connected here into Cleveland State University by way of Dr. Zev Harel. So with his history that we would like to add into the conversation, we'll ask Ms. Brooks if you can remind our listening audience of how large the community was that came together to address these culturally specific needs, but also was attentive to what other cultures could bring to the table.
So if you will indulge me for just a minute, I'd like to start with the story, because I think this is so important in helping us to get to the point where the conference was even discussed at the university level. Zev Harel, Dr. Zev Harel, who is actually now a professor emeritus with Cleveland State University, came to Cleveland as a prisoner of war, and was actually served many years in a concentration camp, 3 camps in Germany. And Zev, when he was released, he tells the story of one day the camp guards and commander coming to the barracks and asking or telling or commanding the prisoners to go into the tunnel. Well, they understood that that tunnel meant death. And one of the prisoners stepped up and said, "No, we are not going to go." And others then followed him, and many of them stated, "We're not going to the tunnel today." To their surprise, the camp guards and the commander turned around and left the barrack. And they were astonished by and bewildered by that. But the day went on, they went to sleep, and the next morning when they got up, they noticed that there was not a call for the prisoners to come out. When they opened the door, they noticed that there were no guards stationed where they normally would be. And the day went on and no one came to get them. That next morning when they got up and walked out of the barracks, they heard trucks coming. And soon the gates opened, and the U.S. soldiers then announced that they were free, that they were liberated from the concentration camps. Zev reports that he walked out of the gates of the camp with a number of other prisoners. He didn't get very far before he fell into a ditch and unconscious. When he awakened several days later, he was in a hospital, and he asked, "How did I get here?" A nurse said to him that a black soldier, then a Negro soldier, brought him to the camp, and that same soldier had come back to the hospital. That same soldier had come back to check on him. Zev tried to find out who that soldier was, because he attributed his life, the saving of his life, to this African American or Negro soldier. He didn't find out. After moving to the Cleveland area, Zev enlisted the help of Carl Stokes to see if he could help him to find out who this African-American soldier was, and they were unable to do that. As a professor then at Cleveland State, and his desire to give back, because if it were not for the African-American soldier and community, he would not be here. And so as he got together with other professors, Ed McKinney, Michael Williams, and they started to talk about a conference that would both bring honor, research, and knowledge of program and services about African American or Black elders and how they are being served in the Cleveland area. They thought that they should dedicate this forum and conference to Anna V. Brown.
So with getting some understanding of what's going to occur, because realizing that a narrative like this has reached your ear And now we understand how you have the capacity to share that narrative with others. We're seeing this process of cultural growth.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. Wanting to know, if you will, have the conversation, Dr. Wimbush, in how this gets lifted into the academy and how this connects into the discussions here at the university in regard to research, in addition to how we are attentive to the senior citizens in our community by way of the academic programs here at Cleveland State. Dr. Wimbush?
Well, one of the things that I think is really important to acknowledge is after that very first conference in 1987, there was a book that came out that was really a compilation of many of the presentations presented at that conference, and that book is called Black Aged: Understanding Diversity and Service Needs. And so there are probably, 12, 15 chapters written by different authors detailing the needs and experiences of the Black elderly. And I dare say that was probably over 30 years ago. But to Samanthy's point, many of those same issues, they've changed a little bit. Some have gotten a little better, maybe some not so much. But there's still a need to continue to develop and improve. And part of that is through the scholarship. So at the conference, we are going to be emphasizing not only the community forum part of this, which is having people come who are looking for services, have organizations come who have services to offer, people come who are caregivers, just a wide variety of people. And so the forum part is connecting and networking. But one of the things that we're doing a little differently or adding to it, I won't say different, but adding to the conference this year is a poster session. And many of the students, and I'm sure the faculty here, know about posters. Maybe others who have not been around in academic setting may not know much about them, but we're hoping that this will be an exciting aspect in that we have students, graduate students, and I think we mostly graduate, but I think we may have an undergraduate student as well as some professors who are presenting a large chart that details their research or their work on a particular issue.
And the conference is going to be held where, as we are already out of time, so we want to announce to our listening audience where they can experience this Anna V. Brown Conference, which it has so much history. It's at McGregor. So if you can give the announcement of the address and how our listening audience can consider registering in advance and joining you for the Anna V. Brown Conference 2019.
Yes.
So the conference is going to be held at the McGregor home, which is located at 14900 Private Drive, and that is in East Cleveland. Easy to access, but people can register online at the CSU website, Black Studies,
We can receive information through Black Studies and be supportive of Dr. Wimbush. And as Dr. Wimbush, in closing, if you're able to consider receiving from Black Studies, as people call us at 216-687-3655, to direct them to you to receive an understanding of how to register for the conference, and encouraging everyone to be aware of the conference, most importantly, and definitely to attend if you can. We thank you all for tuning in to Images.
You have been listening to Images, a public affairs radio program produced by the Cleveland State University Black Studies Program and this station. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cleveland State University, the Black Studies Program, or the station. We hope you have enjoyed the music performed by the Jazz Heritage Orchestra. If you are interested in finding out more about the Black Studies Program, call 216-687-3655 or visit our website at www.csuohio.edu/blackstudies.